man has turned to the sea and to the life above and below it for adventure. Not content with surface thrills, man also invades the depths equipped with a diving hat, weight boots, dive suit, unless courage and curiosity as he moves into this airless fluid world. Join us as we explore the depths on this episode of Diving into the Past.
Hello, I'm Leslie Leaney, coming here from the conference room and museum at Kirby Morgan Dive Systems in Santa Maria, California. In this episode, we're going to take a look at these Joe Savoie helmets. I again want to reference the excellent research of Gary L. Harris and John Kane, whose research I will sometimes reference during the course of these videos. I will not be going into any technical detail on these helmets. Their technical details can be found in Gary's excellent book, Cast to Deep Shadow, and in John Kane's article in Historical Diver Magazine, issue number 8, on Joe Savoie, Legend of the Gulf Coast. In the prior episode, we covered Joe Savoie's earliest helmets that had the flip-up port visor. The efficiency of his helmet was noticed by other divers, and several of them asked Joe to build them a model. From 1964 through to 1965, Joe only dove part-time while he hand-built 12 flip-up helmets for his fellow divers. In September 1965, Hurricane Betsy, a Category 4 hurricane with wind gusts over 150 miles an hour, devastated Louisiana. One of its victims was barge MTC 602. It was transporting liquid chlorine and sank in the Mississippi and had to be salvaged. Joe, along with several other of the divers who were employed to salvage the barge, were wearing the new Savoie helmets on the job. The Savoie helmets, with their bright colours and space-age looks, were a stark contrast to the cumbersome traditional copper and brass helmets used by other divers on the job. The salvage and the divers received national media attention, putting a spotlight on Joe Savoie and his new helmet. It was deemed such a revolutionary piece of diving equipment that it was shown and referenced in the J. Ray McDermott report titled Betsy Haunts Site of Barge Raising. All this attention to Joe's helmets created a demand for them, but he was not set up to meet that demand. Between diving jobs, Joe began to tool up for production and constructed all the equipment needed to meet the demand for the helmets. He ordered the AGV motorcycle helmets directly from the J.C. Whitney Auto Parts catalog, but he decided to discontinue the flip-up faceport, replacing it with one permanently attached to the helmet. Joe's younger brother Pat joined him to assist with production, and they started manufacturing this second series of Savoie fiberglass helmets in 1968. The yellow air helmet we show here was probably made in 1968. The serial number 004 is stamped on top of the air block inlet at the back of the helmet. Like all the helmets we will show, the side cam handles have the Joe Savoie signature stamped in them, and the initials JS stamped in the air channel behind the air control handles. This helmet does not have the lead counterweight, which would later be located on the bottom front of the neck dam. We will show this on the red helmet which follows. The two fiberglass Savoie helmets we show here were both privately restored by Kirby Morgan specialists Frank Takadena, who redid both the yellow and the red gel coat finishes, and Bob Christensen, who serviced all the metal components. The red air helmet is serial number 041, which is stamped below the air inlet elbow. It is basically the same as the yellow helmet, but has the lead counterweight on the bottom front of the neck dam. Another difference is the two side cam levers have an extension added to the bottom of them for ease of use. There is also a thin plastic disc fitted over the front of the faceport to protect it. The black helmet is a mixed gas helmet with a stainless steel channel running front to back across the dome of the helmet. It is serial number 095, which is stamped below the gas inlet elbow. The two connectors for the recirculator are placed one above the other at the back of the helmet. In the earlier Savoie flip-up helmets, the recirculator connectors were fitted in either side of the acrylic faceport. This helmet was the Savoie company display model, and Joe had certain components gold-plated for effect, providing a contrast to the black helmet shell. Being the company display model, it has never been in the water. The gold plating may have been added later to the black helmet featured here in this 1970 Savoie company advert. When John Kane interviewed Joe, he told John that between 1968 and 1971 he had built 100 fiberglass helmets. All of these were on the fiberglass Italian AGV motorcycle crash helmet shells. In 1971, Joe changed from using the fiberglass motorcycle helmets and manufactured his own stainless steel helmet dome. This helmet is one of the first stainless steel ones Joe made, with serial number S-12 stamped into the air inlet block. The diver customized the ends of the gas flow handles. When highly polished, these stainless steel helmets were eye-catching, as can be seen on the cover of this 1973 oil-filled directory. In 1971, Joe had formed a partnership with an investor, but a legal dispute between them brought Joe's helmet production to a halt. By this time, approximately 200 stainless steel helmets had been produced. However, according to Gary's research, Joe's numbering of the helmets was slightly out of their production sequence. This has made it impossible to accurately calculate exactly how many stainless steel helmets were built. In court, the investor prevailed in the dispute to the degree that Joe was legally prohibited from manufacturing his helmet. By court order, all the Savoie manufacturing equipment and company assets were seized by the Sheriff's Department. These seized items, which included unfinished helmets and components, were loaded into a truck trailer, which was then locked and driven away to a private location. Joe now had nothing and was legally prohibited from manufacturing his diving helmet. However, never one to quit, irrespective of the law, Joe secretly began to recreate all new tooling in the hope that he could restart building helmets at a later date. And he also began selling helmets, quote, out of the back door, as Gary describes it. By late 1974, Joe's lawyers successfully appealed the court's decision, and he was allowed to resume his business. During the second production period, Joe patented and manufactured this mixed-gas Savoie Super Helmet to try and compete with the changing market. In 1976, Joe built 2 of these super helmets, and Gary L. Harris has recorded fuller details of them in his excellent book. During the 1980s, Joe also modified some of his helmets from free flow to demand by adding a scuba regulator to them. His first models had the regulator attached to the front of the neck dam. His second models had the regulator fitted through the face port. John Kane's research indicates that there were probably less than 15 of these demand helmets manufactured. By the 1990s, Joe had ceased manufacturing, producing a career total of approximately only 320 Savoie helmets, all with a hand-finished detail. A very small number, considering how influential his design would become. Joe passed away in 1996. In March 2010, Lisa Liskey, John Kane and I finally discovered the location of the trailer that contained the Savoie manufacturing equipment that had been seized by the Sheriff's Department back in the early 1970s. John flew to Louisiana and gained access to the trailer, which contained, among many other items, a group of unfinished stainless steel helmets. The discovery of the trailer was the last chapter in our research into Joe Savoie and his helmets. John and I provide fuller details of Joe Savoie and his helmets in our article Joe Savoie and the Modern Diving Helmet, the 60-year anniversary, in issue 121 of the Journal of Diving History, available at www.hds.org.